Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited to share a special project with you. A stunning custom gown that we created for one of our lovely clients. So, my clients fell in love with one of our previous designs, the sparkly wedding dress I made for my beloved Poppy Parker. She asked if we could recreate it in olive green to match her doll's mesmerizing eyes. Now, these tiny panels may look small and simple, but don't be fooled. They actually take a lot of time to draw and cut. In miniature sewing, even the tiniest flaw can become a big defect. So we always take our time to be as precise as possible. We started with the bodice. Sewing the darts is what transforms a flat 2D panel into a 3D shape. Once that's done, we trim the edges with pinking shears and carefully iron the stitching line to keep everything clean and crisp. Next up, we worked on the tiny pleats. First, we sprayed the fabric with starchy water to give it some structure and stiffness. This helps the pleats hold their shape much better. Then, we carefully folded the fabric, pressing each pleat firmly with low-heat iron to lock them in place. The starchy water ensures those sharp creases stay defined, even after setting. I love the creative process, especially when you get to experiment with different designs and finishes. It's amazing how something simple as a change in color or the addition of rhinestones can completely transform the look of a gown. Now, here's the cool part. By trimming off the excess fabric with a heat pen, the pleats stick and seal themselves in place, making them much easier to handle. Once the pleats are done, we attach them to the front of the bodice to see how everything comes together. White and green, such a timeless, elegant pairing that creates a beautiful contrast. The rich olive green gives the dress a sense of depth and sophistication, while the white details add a touch of brightness and freshness. Next, we sew the back bodice to the front, and that's the bodice done. onto the skirt. We start by sewing the darts, which help shape the fabric to fit the doll's form. Darts are essential because they create that nice, tailored silhouette, turning a flat pieces of fabric into three-dimensional shapes. Once the darts are in place, we move on to stitching the front and back skirt panels together. It's important to align everything carefully, ensuring that the seams match up perfectly for a smooth, continuous flow. Before pressing the seam opened, we notch along the curve. This is a crucial step when working with curved seams because it allows the fabric to lie flat once it's pressed. Notching helps prevent any unwanted bulk or puckering, making sure the skirt looks clean and professional. Once both the bodies and the skirts are complete, it's time to stitch them together. Don't forget to pin the side seams to keep everything perfectly aligned. And here's the finished look. We sent this photo to our client for a quick update on the work in progress, and thank goodness we did it. It turns out she changed her mind and wanted the entire dress to be green. She had mentioned this in our previous conversation, but we missed it. No worries, we'll sew another one. It's important that our client is 100% happy with the final product. We don't want to risk unstitching it, as that can leave permanent marks on the fabric. So we started all over again. We decided to sew both dresses, making 2 sets of lining layers for each one. Since this is an asymmetrical design, the lining layer needed to be the mirror image of the main garment. We laid the lining and the main garment right sides together and carefully aligned the edges before stitching along the neckline. The neckline is such a critical part of the dress. It's one of the first things you notice, and any imperfections here will be very noticeable. That's why we take extra care to make sure everything is perfectly in place. As we stitch, we make sure the fabric stays flat and doesn't shift, using pins to hold everything securely. Pinking shears are fantastic for trimming edges. They reduce the risk of fraying, and with the zigzag cuts, there's no need to clip or notch the curve. Just be sure to stay clear of the seam line to avoid weakening the stitch. Next, we moved on to the hemming. For those sharp, clean corners, we start by trimming off any excess fabric at the edges. This prevents bulk from building up at the corners, allowing the fabric to fold neatly. Once the excess was removed, we carefully sewed a stitch right at the point of the corner, leaving a small piece of thread between the layers. Then, we just pull that thread to reveal a perfect corner. After that, a quick press with the iron gave us a nice crisp edge. Pressing is key here. It's what gives the hem that polished, professional finish and ensures the gown has a clean, elegant lines. After pressing, the corners looked neat and perfectly aligned. As we sewed the back seam, it's important to make sure that the top, waistline, and hemline were perfectly aligned. Before closing the lining, we carefully press open the back seam of the main garment to set the fabric and create the smooth finish. Once the seam was pressed, we stitched the lining back seam. Attention to details makes all the difference, ensuring the gown fits flawlessly from every angle. And there you have it. What do you think? Which one do you think my client will choose? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to share which style speaks to you most. Your feedback means so much to me and helps me create even more exciting designs for future projects. Personally, I felt the pure green gown needed something extra to make it truly stand out. So we decided to add rhinestones to give it that eye-catching sparkle. The rhinestones catch the light beautifully, elevating the dress from simple sophistication to something more glamorous, giving it that perfect finishing touch that makes the gown feel even more special. I think it really adds a bit of magic to the design. What do you think? Does it sparkle suit it? And that's not the end yet. Let's give it an extra touch of elegance and make a shawl go with it. The only green tone fabric I think goes well with these gowns is my mom's shawl. It has different shades of green, and the texture of the voile will give it the perfect flowy effect. So we decided to cut a tailor of a tiny version out of it. It's going to be a sweet surprise for my client. I can't wait to see her reaction when she sees it. Ta-da! What do you think? I'm really happy with how these dresses turned out. Designing for dolls is more than just fabric and stitching. It's about capturing a vision, telling a story, and bringing a feeling to life. Thanks for joining me on this journey. Bye!